All right, so you guys wanted to take a closer look at racism.
Yeah,
And I think we've got some really interesting stuff to dig into today.
for sure.
We're going to be looking at this discussion between Hunter Avallone and Aquarius Wave.
Yeah.
Have you seen this one?
I have, yeah. It's a really good one.
Yeah. And it gets into some pretty complex stuff.
Definitely.
So we really wanted to go deep, like a deep dive
Yeah, absolutely.
and kind of unpack all the different layers of this conversation.
It's not just like surface level stuff,
Right, exactly. Like you see all those hot takes everywhere.
Totally, like just skimming the surface.
Yeah. And this discussion is really different. It goes way beyond that.
Yeah, they really get into the nuance of it.
So to start off, what would you say is like the core argument that they're making in this video?
Well, I think the main takeaway is that racism isn't so simple as we often think.
Okay.
Like, it's not just about one group targeting another group. It's
Right.
much more complex than that.
Yeah, I think that's what really stood out to me too.
Like, they talk about how even systems that seem neutral on the surface can actually have racially biased outcomes.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Like, those algorithms they use for hiring
Yeah.
or loan applications.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like, on the surface, they seem fair,
They do.
but they can actually perpetuate existing inequalities.
And they're not even like intentionally trying to discriminate, are they?
Right, exactly. It's not about like some evil person behind the scenes,
Right, right.
It's more subtle than that.
So how does that happen then, like if there's no intention to discriminate?
Well, they explain that these algorithms are often trained on data that reflects historical bias.
Ah, I see.
So basically, they end up replicating those same biases in their outcomes.
Like a feedback loop.
Exactly. It's like this hidden layer of complexity.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we just take these systems for granted.
Right. We assume they're objective and neutral.
Yeah. But this conversation really makes you question that.
For sure. And, it's not just algorithms either.
Oh, really? So what else do they talk about?
Well, they also dig into how people of color can experience racism from within their own communities.
Oh, wow. That's not something you hear discussed very often.
Not really, but it's
Yeah.
important to acknowledge.
For sure.
Like, they bring up the concept of colorism.
Colorism.
Yeah.
I'm not really familiar with that term. What is that exactly?
It's basically discrimination based on skin tone within racial groups.
Ah, okay. So like even within the same racial group,
Yeah, exactly.
there can be prejudice based on how light or dark someone's skin is.
Precisely. And that's another layer of nuance that challenges the simplistic view of racism.
Right, because it's not just a black and white issue.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much more to it.
That's really interesting.
And there's another thing that Avallone talks about that really struck me.
What's that?
Unconscious bias.
Oh, yeah. I remember that part.
He made me think, like, how do we even begin to identify those subtle forms of racism in our own lives?
Right, without just like jumping to labels and accusations.
Yes, exactly. Because sometimes it can be unintentional.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the first step is recognizing that we all have unconscious bias.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a matter of being a good person or a bad person.
Right.
It's about understanding that we're all shaped by our upbringing and the society we live in.
Yeah, that
That's-
makes sense.
And those experiences can create biases without us even realizing it.
So it's like this underlying thing that we might not even be aware of.
Exactly.
So what can we do about it then? Like, how do we challenge those biases if we don't even know they're there?
Well, I think awareness is the first step.
Okay.
Like, once you start to recognize that you might have these biases, you can start to pay attention to your thoughts and actions.
I see.
And you can actively work to challenge those biases.
So it's like a continuous process of self-reflection
Absolutely.
and education too, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, learning about different cultures and perspectives can really help broaden your understanding.
Right. And that can help break down those stereotypes.
Exactly.
So it's not just about calling out overt acts of racism.
Right.
It's also about being mindful of those subtler forms of prejudice that can creep into our everyday interactions.
Exactly. It's about being more aware and intentional in the way we interact with others.
Okay, so after taking this deep dive into this conversation, with Avallone and Wave,
Yeah.
how do you think this more nuanced view of racism can actually help us combat it more effectively?
That's a great question. I think by acknowledging the complexities of racism,
Okay,
we can start to have more honest and productive conversations about it.
that makes sense.
It's like it allows us to move beyond those simplistic solutions and really address the root causes of inequality.
I see.
And it also empowers us to recognize and challenge those subtle forms of racism,
Yeah,
which can make a real difference in our communities and institutions.
right. Because it's not just about those big, obvious acts of discrimination.
Exactly. It's about changing the culture and the systems that perpetuate racism.
So this conversation has given us a lot to think about.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really made me question some of my own assumptions.
Me too.
And, as we're all trying to navigate this complex world, I think it's important to keep asking ourselves these tough questions.
For sure.
Like, how can we be more aware of our own biases?
Yeah.
And how can we work to create a more just and equitable society for everyone?
Absolutely. Those are the questions we need to be grappling with.
So to leave our listeners with a final thought,
Okay.
how might understanding these different layers of racism influence your own interactions and the choices you make every day?
That's a powerful question.
Yeah, it's something to really think about.
For sure. We're looking at Hunter Avalon's YouTube channel, all about social justice and race, and this is a deep dive. So we're not just deciding if he's right or wrong,
Right.
but we've got a bunch of his videos here.
Okay.
And they kind of all touch on this similar theme. He says that a lot of people claiming to be anti-racist are actually racist themselves.
Okay.
And he doesn't believe in systemic racism.
Okay, interesting.
So I think what's really interesting about Avalon is how he does it.
Yeah. Definitely how.
Because, he uses satire, he uses pretty strong language, he brings in statistics. So I think it brings up a really important question.
Yeah.
Can you really use that kind of rhetoric when you're talking about such a sensitive topic as race and racism?
Well, and that's what makes this deep dive so interesting, right?
So instead of us just being like, do we agree? Do we disagree?
Yeah.
Let's just unpack how he's doing it.
Exactly.
What are his claims, and then how is he actually presenting them?
Right, so we can kind of look at the tools and how those tools are used.
Right, it's like we're examining the toolbox, right?
Uh-huh.
And not necessarily just, judging the builder.
Yeah.
And I think it'll give us a really interesting way to think about how these discussions about race and equality are happening online, because things can get pretty heated, as we know.
For sure.
Let's jump right into it.
Okay.
This first one is called One Angry Racist Won't Talk to White People.
Okay.
And it's based on a Tumblr exchange.
Okay.
Where a black woman refuses to explain white privilege to a white man and tells him instead to just send her money on PayPal.
Oh, wow.
So Avalon, he really goes after her, calls her a racist.
Okay.
Calls her hypocritical for demanding payment for this type of education. Then he brings in all these statistics about white poverty and suicide rates to dismantle the concept of white privilege.
Okay.
And then, he even brings up the fact that she has a web series about race and sex and saying, well, if you have a web series on that, why wouldn't you just explain it,
He's kind of implying that it's a little strange that she wouldn't offer just like a basic explanation.
But is that a fair comparison?
It's interesting because on one hand, he is challenging this idea that all white people, benefit from this like invisible advantage, but he doesn't address any of the systemic factors that might contribute to the disparities he cites.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like saying, well, I know a rich person who lives in poverty.
Right.
So wealth inequality can't be real.
Exactly.
And feels like a piece of the puzzle is missing.
Yeah. And I think that's where this whole idea of using statistics in this way comes in, right?
Right.
Is he debunking the concept of white privilege?
Right.
By focusing on these very specific statistics.
Is he cherry picking?
Yeah. Is he trying to
kind of prove a point?
Right. To fit his narrative. And then, you can't ignore the language he uses.
Right.
He calls her, a retard.
Oh, wow.
He mocks her intelligence and even says that she's just doing this for attention.
Okay.
So it feels very aggressive. And it makes you wonder, is he really trying to have a genuine dialogue?
Right.
Or is this just about being provocative?
Yeah. Is it helpful or hurtful to the conversation?
Right. Exactly.
Is this alienating people?
Because I think for some people, they might be willing to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
But then they hear that and they're like, I'm done.
I can't listen to this anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Or maybe he thinks this is the only way to get through to people, right? Like, I have to be this over the top.
Right. I have to shock them.
To get them to listen.
Right. To get them to even pay attention because it is a very noisy world out there. All right. Next one.
Okay. What do we got? 2.
Racist black man does white face.
Okay.
And this is about a black man who makes a comedy skit.
Okay.
Wearing whiteface to satirize white privilege.
Okay.
The skit has all these jokes about, having positive encounters with the police and not caring about black deaths.
Okay.
So Avalon is really focusing on hypocrisy. Like, you know, there would be a huge double standard if a white person did blackface.
Yeah, exactly.
And he also challenges the man's claim that no one cares about Black deaths by saying, well, look at all this media coverage and protests, right? Okay. But is that a fair comparison?
I don't know.
You know, given the whole history of blackface and the power dynamics there.
The context is completely different.
Exactly. Yeah. And it feels like he brings up a good point about how, you know, there might be different reactions based on who's doing the satirizing.
Right.
But then it feels like he's just, you know, taking the nuances out and saying, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's like, are there different rules based on whether you agree with the message?
Yeah, exactly. Is he being inconsistent in how he applies his critique?
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
And then there's this detail where the guy in the skit says, you know, well, I can't be racist. I have Black friends.
Oh, wow.
And of course, Avalon mocks that.
Of course.
But it does bring up an interesting question. How do personal relationships, especially friendships, impact your understanding of race?
Right. Like, does having a friend of a different race mean that you can't be racist?
Right. Exactly. And I don't think it's that simple.
I mean, it makes you think, right?
Yeah.
Like, friendships can help you understand people better.
Right. They can expose you to
different lived experiences.
Different viewpoints.
But it's not a guarantee.
Right. You could still
have your own biases.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not like a magic cure for racism.
And I mean, it's like saying just because you have a friend who's a doctor, you suddenly understand the complexities of the entire healthcare system.
Exactly. It doesn't quite work that way.
Okay, let's move on to video number 3.
All right.
It's called 3, Pepe the Frog is a racist symbol.
Pepe the Frog, okay.
So this is interesting. He's taking on a different kind of symbol here.
Yeah.
He's satirizing the Anti-Defamation League.
Oh, wow.
Labeling Pepe the Frog as a hate symbol.
Okay.
He even makes fun of Hillary Clinton for putting it on her website.
Oh, really?
During the 2016 election.
Interesting.
So is he genuinely concerned about this?
Yeah, about being overly sensitive, or is he, you know, kind of dismissing the impact of racist symbols?
Exactly, because they can be harmful.
Yeah, for sure.
He brings up this question, does a symbol just automatically become racist? Or does it depend on the group that's using it?
It makes you think, where do we draw the line? Right? Like, when does a symbol
become like tainted?
Tainted, yeah.
Or can its meaning actually change depending on who's using it?
Right.
And then he goes even further and he says sarcastically, well, maybe all frogs are racist now.
He's going all out.
Right, because he's trying to be like, look at how absurd this is. But is that a straw man argument?
Right. Is he oversimplifying it?
Right. Or is there a real concern that we are labeling things as hateful too quickly?
It's a tough question.
Right, because it's a really complex issue. I mean, and if you think about it, like the Confederate flag, or even certain hand gestures.
Yeah, symbols can be so loaded.
Right.
The meaning changes depending on who's using it, when they're using it, how they're using it. Right. It's all about context.
It's not always black and white.
Exactly. No pun intended.
Okay, video number 4.
Okay.
4SJW fail.
Yeah.
Mispronouncing someone's name is racist.
All right.
So he's critiquing this MTV news video.
Okay.
Where people are sharing their stories about their names being mispronounced. And he's like, come on, this is not racism.
Okay.
He's calling them overly sensitive and desperate to be victims.
Okay.
But is he going too far?
Yeah. I mean, I can see how mispronouncing someone's name could be disrespectful.
Right.
But is it always racist?
Right. And he does acknowledge that.
Okay.
He says, you know, well, it can be rude if you're doing it on purpose.
Right.
And he says the solution is just correct people.
Okay.
Or ask them not to use nicknames.
But is that always so easy?
Right.
I mean, what about power dynamics? Right.
Right.
Like, if your boss keeps mispronouncing your name,
right,
are you going to correct them?
Especially, you know, if you're worried about your job.
Yeah.
Now, there's this one part in the MTV video where this person says, you know, mispronouncing my name is like saying I don't care about you as a person.
Wow.
And of course, Avalon laughs at that.
Of course.
But it does bring up a point, right? Like, what are names all about? How do they show respect? How do they let you know that I see you as an individual?
Because names are tied to our identity, right? They tell us something about
who we are,
our background, our culture, our family.
And if someone keeps dismissing that,
mispronouncing it,
it can feel like, you don't see me.
Like you don't care.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm ready for the next one.
All right, this is a live review.
Oh, fun.
5 live review. The racist Netflix show, Dear White People.
Dear White People, okay.
So he's watching the show, and he's giving his commentary.
Okay.
And he's calling it racist and divisive.
Okay.
He's focusing on moments where there's Black anger and stereotypes and interracial relationships.
Right.
And he's making fun of the characters and the story.
So he doesn't like the show.
No, he does not like the show.
Got it.